and welcome. This is April 13th, 2024, and this is episode number 44, and this is Heidi's Homemade. And this is videos all about cross-stitch. So if you are not interested in cross-stitch, I guess you're in the wrong spot. But if you are, welcome. We're going to talk about some cross-stitch stuff today. So it's been about a month, not intentionally, since I did my last video. I had intended on doing it actually on Easter Sunday, but it was raining and I used a lot of the natural light coming in, and it was kind of cloudy and icky, so it was really dark in my room that I'm in, and so I decided to put it off. And then I was like, I don't really want to be on a different weekend than my library weekend, because it makes it for kind of a hectic weekend because I have a lot of running around to do. So I decided to put it off one more week, and now we're at a month, and so here we are. So if you subscribe, thank you for subscribing. If you haven't yet, why not? So let's see. I have a bunch of stuff around me. Like, I feel like there's a lot of stuff, but there's not a ton of stuff, but there's a lot of stuff. I don't know. I have several WIPs to show you because I feel like I was a bit scattered on my stitching at this time, and I just kind of did some random stuff. I do have some fully finishes to show you. I have a new start, fancy that, a new start, an upcoming plan to be a new start probably today. I do have a bit of haul. I did mention that I was planning on going to the attic on my last video, in which I did. Unfortunately, I cannot show you everything that I got at the attic because it's a super secret stitch. So, and I know that the person that this is for watches my videos, so I am not going to show that, but I will show the other couple items that I only got like 4 things. So I will show the other couple items that I got at the attic when I went. And then I have some cross-stitch accompaniment haul. So I got some frames and stuff to show you guys that I thrifted and found in various places. So yeah, let's get into it. So let's start with some finishes, and this one is a set of finishes, basically. Let me find these. So, for 12 by 12, I started the Little Stitchers Robinson Stars, and I started this one for the 12 by 12. And I wasn't going to finish them until I got all 4 done. I actually kind of thought about not finishing it until I got the next set done as well, but those are coming up. So these are my finishes. You've seen 3 of these, but I finished the 4th one during my little month break of not doing a video. I finished my 4th one, and then I finished all of them fully finished. So I finished them into lightly stuffed pillows because I know that I'm going to want to put these in a tree. For whether it be like a Christmas tree or just a decorative tree. And I have found that if I stuff them too much, then they tend to fall out of the tree. So by stuffing it lightly, just enough so that it's a little poofy, it helps it stay in the tree a little bit better. So I stitched this on 36 count raw with dots, I believe is what it is. I don't think it's 40 count. I think it's because it doesn't look small enough to be 40 count. I think it's 36 count. Raw with dots, and I put kind of an orangey red back on the back because of the orangey red stars and in their chests. So, and I think it came out really well. I do the cut a slit and then iron on a patch. That's how I like to finish it because I don't like hand sewing. Even though I obviously had to hand sew the border chenille on. And this is chenille that I picked up at the dollar store. It's dollar store yarn. It's Premier yarn, so it's actually a really good yarn. But for $1.25, it's working out really, really well. So I did the set of 4. So there's 1, 2, and there are, in the pattern, there are more little dots of snow, but because the fabric is already dotted, I didn't feel the need to stitch all of the little snowflakes, just like the big ones. And I think it came out really cute. And then this one with the little star, or big star, I should say. And then this is the last one that I stitched, and he's done with the 3 little robins. And I think that they came out super cute. I'm very, very happy with how they came out. And I have a thing for birds, robins specifically. Robins and owls, apparently. I was unpacking some stuff that was my mom's. And most of the stuff I was like, okay, I need to separate this and put it in stuff that I plan on keeping and stuff that I plan on figuring out what to do with, whether I sell it or whatever. Because when I went to pack up her stuff, it was a very quick thing. So I just kind of put a bunch of stuff in boxes and took it. So anyway, but I found myself putting out like all of the little bird figurines that I brought with me. So they're all kind of like placed, like there's one like 2 of them right there. I put a couple right there's one there. There's one up here. I think there's a couple more on my bookshelves that I like kind of put randomly. But yeah, I discovered while I was doing that apparently I really like birds. So, I mean, not that there's anything wrong with that. I guess I've always been kind of drawn to like different types of birds. I used to be like a bird watcher, specifically like birds of prey. But yeah, I don't know. I guess I never really thought about it in that way that like, oh, I really like this. I'm going to put this on display. So I don't know. I don't know why I didn't put the 2 and 2 together, but it is. So there are my fully finishes. And also I will pull that back out towards the end of the video because there is a plans in that one. So I will pull that out. So that is the only finished ones I have for this time. But I think that finishing it and fully finishing it was like a good thing because I don't do that often. Usually it ends up in the finish bin. So moving on to WIPs. So and these are not in any particular order. I just happen to have them stacked however I have them stacked. So for what's it called? Leap year start. That's what I'm looking for. Leap year start. I started Durene Jones, The Green Man, for my leap year start. I knew I wanted to start this at some point, but I kept passing it up to do other things. I don't know. So I just decided when I randomly decided that I was going to do a New Year's start or leap year start. I keep doing that. That I was going to go ahead and start this one. And I need to finish kitting it up because I never finished kitting it up. I only grabbed like a handful of colors so that I could get it started. But I started this for leap year, and there will be a picture of how far I got, which was not very far. And to be honest, I really didn't add that much to it, but I did stitch on it, so I thought I would show you. And so this is where I'm at now. And I guess I actually have stitched quite a bit on this. I only gave it, this is one night of stitching that I added to it. But I added several colors to it. I added, I shouldn't say several. I added 3, I think, colors to it. Because there's a ton of different tones of greens in it. And I wanted to get some more done, so I added more to it. I had to frog some of this that I had done last time because I was off by 1 stitch and it was bugging me. So usually it doesn't bug me that much, but I don't know. It was bugging me, so I pulled it all out, like a whole strand of floss, and restitched the whole thing. So I did that, and then I added more to it. So this is where the green man is now, and this is on 20 count mimosa green. It's my last piece of it. I ordered some more when I was at the attic because I had intended to use it for the Deadly Aquarium, but I decided to do something else, I think. I haven't started the Deadly Aquarium yet because the pattern just came out yesterday, and obviously I was working, so I didn't stitch on that. But I printed it out this morning and kitted up what I needed to do the frame that came out, which you'll see in a minute. Well, not in a minute, but towards the end of the video. But I'm not 100% sold on the color that I chose. Actually, I'm not 100% sold that I would like it on the mimosa green either, but I don't know. I'll probably do it on the color that I chose because it's in my stash already. So there's that. The next thing that I worked on, and this one I just pulled out for like one evening, is the Stitch Witch by TinyModernist. I have not stitched on this in a while, so I pulled it out the other night and I gave it about an hour of love. So an hour gave me hair. So this is on 14 count because it was supposed to be 18 count. The packaging said 18 count, but obviously this is not 18 count. This is 14 count. So if you remember in previous videos, I was all upset because I had cut this as if it was for 18 count because I did not pay attention to the bigger squares when I was doing it. Because the packaging said 18 count, so I just trusted that it was 18 count, so I measured and cut it for an 18 count piece, and it is a 14 count. And I was kind of like, well, I don't really want to work on it until I remeasure and make sure that it's big enough. It is just big enough. So there's like a 1/2 inch border around the entire thing if I do all of the stitching, which I may or may not, depending. I don't know. I honestly don't know. I might do just the witch and see how I like it and see if I want to add all the other stuff to it. Because if I do just the witch, there's plenty of space. But if I add in all the little motifs around the edges, that's where it starts to get a little tight, which is fine with me. I don't need a ton of space to finish it because I'll be finishing it myself, so I'll have total control over what I do with it. And honestly, it's probably going to end up being a project bag because it kind of lends itself because it's, you know, stitchy stuff. So it kind of lends itself to being a project bag. So I'm not too worried about only having like a 1/2 inch around the sides. So that is where I'm at there. And I will probably work on this at least one more time before I move on to something else. I worked on this just a few nights ago. So it hasn't been very long since I worked on it this time. Let's see, the next one, and this one is just about done. Let's see, there he is. So I've shown this pattern several times now because I'm doing all of the little pillows, and right now I'm working on this one. So I have the truck, I have the ice skates, I have the snowflakes. It's really hard to see this pattern. There's snowflakes on that one, and then there's mittens on this one. And so I have this one, this one, this one, and this one finished. So I'm almost done with this one. So then I have this one, and then there's a freebie pattern that is like the same size as these. So I only have 3 more to do after I finish this. So this one is a new start since you guys saw it last. And it's really hard to see. I sometimes feel like I'm stitching invisible stitches because there's so much white. In person, I can see it just fine. And the color that I chose is very similar to the color that she did it on. And part of me was like, well, maybe I should have done the white in 2 strands instead of 1. But I actually kind of like how it's very subtle. So all I really have left is this little row of the snowman, because I came down to get to the owl right here. So I came down to get to him, and then once I got to the owl, I did the owl part and then his wing, and then I went to the bottom, because this is the bottom of the pattern, and started meeting myself up to where I stopped for the white, because that's a lot of white. So I have a little bit of fill-in on his feathers, which is the dark brown color, and then I have his eyes and his little beak, and then I just have a bunch of snowflakes and stuff that are in this, like, kind of frame it. And then I'm done. So, I mean, honestly, one more good day of stitching on this, and I will have this done. I want to say that this is 2 days of stitching, 2.5 days, something like that. So, he's almost done. There's a little bit of back stitching on this one. Serious? They are allowed to walk on the sidewalk. I promise. There's groundskeepers walking around, and he does not appreciate that they are walking on the sidewalk. So he is, let's them know and me know that there's people outside. Hopefully that doesn't mean that it's going to get loud here in a second, because they're carrying like chainsaws and stuff. So, okay, moving on. Next one, and this one, I I have a bad habit of finishing like mid-stitch and putting something away. Not even finishing mid-stitch. I would say stopping at mid-stitch because of whatever happened. Probably my phone rang or something, and I stopped, and then when I got back, I put it away. But I have a bad habit of like putting stuff away like mid-stitch, and then like my needle and thread is hanging off the side. So let me get this one ready for you. So this one is Blooming Tiny Town, and it is so close to being done. If I gave it probably one more day, and I think I'm saying that a lot, but if I gave it like one more day, I feel like I would probably have this one done. And so last time you saw it, I had just finished the blue house that's over on this end. So I have since then added the pink house, the bird, and the yellow house. And that's what I'm working on there, is putting in like the little shutters of the yellow house. And then I just have to go back and add in the little details. So the stuff that's like, there's like 1 stitch of this color or 2 stitches of this color. Because I try to do the ones that have like the big colors first and get the placements, and then go back and put in the fill-in stuff. So this one is Blooming Tiny Town, and it is on 18 count earthen. And in the camera, and I know I've said this before when I've shown this, in the camera it shows kind of a brownish taupey tan color, but in person it's very pink. So I think for Blooming Tiny Town, pink is a good background, and I really like how it looks on it. It is a soft fabric because this is Picture This Plus, and so that's why I use the hoop with it. I'm not a fan of using hoops, but it does look better on softer fabric when I use hoops because the tension. So that one, hopefully the next time you see it, it will be finished. And I just realized I did not show you the pattern. I'm sure most of you have seen it, but there's the pattern. So I don't have that much left. I need to finish this, and there's like a flower that goes right up the center of that guy. And like the ones that are coming off of things, I need to finish up those. And there's a couple clouds. This one I need to put in. This one I need to finish because I ran out of floss and I did not finish like the last row of that one. But yeah, so I'm hoping the next time I show that one, it will be finished. I don't think it's going to be fully finished, but it will hopefully be at least finished, and I can move on to something else or not. I don't know. I'm kind of getting to the point that I don't really want to start new things unless I finish things. So, because I don't want to have that many WIPs. So, as I kind of finish things, then I'm like, okay, I can start this thing. Because that bag is now available, and that's kind of been my thought process. I don't know. I don't know if it's working, but that's kind of been my thought process. Except for the stuff I already have planned, like the Deadly Aquarium and, you know, whatever. Okay, moving on, because now I'm just babbling. So, there's that. The next thing that I worked on, and this one I actually gave quite a bit of love since the last time you saw it. So this is Nora Corbett. This is the only Nora Corbett that I had and have ever worked on. So this one is called, and hang on, it's on the pattern, Little Snowy Pink Cottage. It's from the Snow Globe Village series by Nora Corbett, and this was released in 2011. I picked it up on 123 Stitch, so I'm sure they probably still have it if you are interested in doing that one. I am stitching it on 32 count splash mint with white dots, and yet again another, I like put it away mid-stitch. But let me take that off and put the needle somewhere so that I can show you what this looks like. And I'm sure I probably have a picture of what it looked like before. So this is where I'm at now. And sorry about the creases. I literally just took the hoop out. Let's see if I can. There we go. So on this one, I added quite a bit to it since the last time you saw it. I added that entire tree that is here. So I added this entire tree. And I put in some of the details. So this dark burgundy color, I added in all that. Most of this one is now done. The white stitches have been added. So all of the empty parts Except for the little turret thingy that's at the top. I haven't stitched that. But most of the white parts that are still open are going to be beads. So I have now gone into the second part of the house here. I wanted to get to the other side. So weird because I had to like do things backwards. Anyway, so I had to get to the other side so I could do the tree on the other side, so I could have like an anchor. Because then there's like white. I don't know if you can see. There's white kind of like steps because it's supposed to be snow coming off of that, but I wanted to make sure that I was going in the right way, I guess, because it is Lugana, so it is a little bit different than stitching on Ada, and even linen. It's closer to stitching on linen than it is stitching on Ada, in my opinion. But I love the color background. I think it looks really cute with the white dots on it that make it look like snow is falling. And then, yeah, I think it looks really good with the pinks that I chose because I am not using called for colors on this. I instead of using a ton of Krynic, because all that pink is supposed to be Krynic, and no. So I just kind of picked pinks that I liked and went from there. So that is little pink snowy cottages or whatever I call it. I'm not sure. Little snowy pink cottage. There we go. And these are the colors that I'm using. So put that back in there because I definitely want to use that. Put the cover back in. And that is the last of my WIPs. I do have a new start. I need to move that. I'm going to have to move these in order to show you my other stuff because I did not think that through before I started setting things down. Okay, there we go. Okay, so my new start is one that I did. So this is one that I picked up at the attic, and it is Heartstring Samplery Dream Journal Gothic. This is the Edgar Allan Poe one. So it's the Dream Journal Volume 4 on this one. And it says, deep into that darkness peering, long I stood there wondering, fearing, doubting, dreaming, dreams to mortal, no mortal ever dared to dream before. And that is from The Raven. And I really like this part. I think it's really pretty. So, I started the day I got it because I sat and stitched. So there was a group of people that were meeting up at the attic. I had planned to go on the Friday after my last video that I was talking about during my spring break, but then I found out that there was a group of people who were going to be meeting up for Saturday and stitching. So I'm like, well, I'll just go Saturday morning then and buy what I plan on buying and sit and stitch for a little bit before I go to my own stitching meeting that I host every other weekend at the local library. So I picked up the fabric, which is Stormy Nights from Newcastle, and it's 40 count linen. And I purposely stitched right in the middle because I do plan on finishing this as a book cover. I'm planning on finishing it as a composition book cover, so I wanted to make sure I had plenty of fabric on the sides. So I did literally start it right in the center of the fabric. And I made a change. You might have been able to see. So I made a change. It says Dream Journal. And it said volume 4 here, and I changed it. I counted and adjusted, and I changed it to say Heidi for my name instead of volume 4, because I don't know if I will pick up the others in the series. So I wanted to make sure that it made sense for me. So now I have Dream Journal and like the side binding and the Edgar Allan Poe, and then I just have to do the quote. And words go super fast, so that should not be a problem. And I will start at the top because I can count off of these. And I'll start at the top and do the quote that is here, do the quote here. And then I'll come over to the other side over here, and I'll put in her dream thoughts and, oh, excuse me, I just hiccuped. And the little head of the girl. So, I've only stitched on this twice, and I think I've made some decent progress on that. So, maybe the next time I will have some more. I stitched on this the day that I got it, and then I stitched on it 2 weekends ago when I went to AZ Stitchers, and I stitched on it some there. Oh, I didn't tell you what color I'm stitching it in. I am stitching it with Sampler, Gentle Arts Sampler Threads, Blue Spruce is the color that I chose, and I think that it looks really nice on that gray fabric. I knew I didn't want to do it in just solid black, so I picked the fabric, and then I picked the floss to kind of go with it. So yeah, so I picked a nice dark green, and I think it looks really good together. So I'm excited to continue working on that. All right, so let's see. Plans. So I have, and I just covered up that. Let me pull this up. So I have, coming up, I have another set from the Little Stitcher of the robins. So this kind of goes with the other set that I did, because the little robins in there are like the same style. So, and a lot of the same colors. I need to pick a few more colors out to complete the color scheme, but I can use pretty much the same colors that were already used in the other one, so that they'll match really well together. And I have the same fabric I need to cut for each piece. This piece is going to be a lot bigger than the other ones, but these other pillows are going to be relatively the same size as the ones from the other set that I showed you at the beginning of the video. So there is that. So this is coming up. I already have it halfway kitted because I'm using what I had kitted for the previous set. I just need to add a few colors and cut the fabric. So there's that. So that's going back into the same bag that the other ones were in. So there's that upcoming plan. And then the other one is the Deadly Aquarium, and I just printed this off today. So this is what has come out so far. This is what the frame is going to look like. And so I pulled all the colors for what is here. I did not pull all the colors for the complete pattern yet, because I just wanted to get it kitted up and ready to go. The color that I chose from my stash is 20 count turquoise blue, and that is actually coming across pretty accurate. It's more is more blue than green. And this piece of fabric is going to be tight. I'll say that. It's going to be tight. Which is why I'm not 100% sure that this is the one I want to use. It only gives me about a ½ inch on the top and the bottom, which is fine. It gives me plenty of space on the sides, but only gives me about ½ inch on the top and the bottom. But the way that this is set up, it doesn't start, like counting it is going to be harder, I think, to start it off with, because I think what I'm going to end up doing is going from the center and figuring out how far I have to get to this bird, because I believe the feet of this bird is the bottom of the pattern. So I think that's what I'm going to end up having to do to make sure that I'm giving myself enough space on the bottom and the top. So I'll probably end up remeasuring my fabric to make sure exactly how much I have. The piece that it says that it's a 9 by 18, but I believe it was actually closer to 10 by 19 when I measured it. So, and it needed to be, I think it needed to be like 8.5 on 20 counts in order to fit. So I should have plenty of space. It's just going to be a matter of counting correctly so that I don't run out of space, because you can clearly see something is going to be down here. So I don't want to end up cutting off anything. So it makes me a little bit nervous to use this particular piece of fabric just because I know it's going to be so tight. But then I'm also like, well, maybe I should start at the top because I believe that there's nothing else on the top. So maybe if I start here in the center on the top and work my way out, that might be a better place to start. But I think the color itself would look good. I have the colors pulled for the frame, which are all here. And none of the colors are too close to it. I'm missing one color because apparently I ran out of 503 and never replaced it. So I'm missing one color. I need to pick up one color. But none of the colors are close enough to this particular fabric that it's going to make any difference. So I think the fabric color is going to be a good color. I'm just not 100% sure about the size, honestly. And like I said, I did order a piece of mimosa green 20 counts from the attic, but it has not came in yet, or at least they haven't contacted me yet to let me know that it's in, because that was my other choice. And I don't really know why I'm putting that back in there, because I'm just going to be taking it out again shortly when I go to stitch on it. But, you know, whatever. So, that is my plans for that one. All right. So, those are plans, 2 starts, and working on a bunch of stuff, because that's what I always do. So now let's go into some haul. So at the last AZ Stitchers, I always peruse the freebie table because people are always generously giving things away. And I picked up this little kit of this very angry bird. He looks so angry on this little stump. And the kit looks like it's pretty much all there with the flosses. It's on a very stiff 14 count Beta. which I might do a different fabric and just put the 14 count in my stash. Maybe to play with doing some dyeing with or something. I really want to try that, but I'm nervous about trying it in my apartment because I'm really nervous about staining something that should not be stained. So, there's that. But my thoughts, I don't really care about the stump and the barbed wire. I just really like this little bird, and I was looking at the pattern, and it cuts off pretty cleanly at his feet. So I think I might just stitch the bird, because I think that he's the cutest part of the pattern anyway. And if I do that, I can put him on a different color fabric and make him pop a little bit, because his white here kind of blends in with the fabric, and I'm not really keen on that. But I picked this up on the freebie table, and I'm like, you know what? I really like that little bird. He looks so angry. he looks like an upset bird. His little facial expression. So I picked that up, and I definitely plan on stitching at least the bird. And if I go through my stash and figure out what color I think that he will pop out on, because there's so much white. He's got a lot of white. I want the white to show up. I'm kind of thinking maybe I have a darker green linen. I think it's agave, whatever. I think that he might look cute on that, because I think it would be complementary to the blues. I don't know if he's supposed to be a robin. I'm not really sure what he's supposed to be. It says Mad Bluebird is the name of the pattern. So yeah. Anyway, he's so cute. I'm actually kind of excited to start him. There's very minimal backstitching, and it's mostly in his little face and a little bit in his little talons. So that's not going to bother me. I really stay away from stuff that has backstitching, because backstitching annoys the heck out of me. But yeah, I plan on going through my fabric and seeing what I can find with that. Anyway, moving on. So the other thing that I can show you from the attic that I picked up is this pattern, Probably Haunted, from it's a Little Stitch Girl, and it says, if one door closes and another door opens, your house is probably haunted. I thought that was adorable, and I don't think I had seen this. This was a new market release, but I don't think I had seen it really anywhere. So yeah, I really thought that this was super cute. And my thought process, so moving into the next thing that is haul, is a bunch of frames that I found while I was doing some thrifting. And I found this frame at Goodwill, and it's coming across as black, but it's actually a deep brown. And so I intend to measure the opening and figure out what size fabric I need to stitch this on in order to put that, if I can line it up, put that this pattern into this frame, because this frame is screaming Gothic at me. And it looks like it's like a 5x7, but it might be a little odd because it's clearly a professional frame, which means that the sizing is probably a little bit weird. I do need to clean it up. It's got some little cobwebbies and stuff in it, and I might add a little bit of painting to it, because I even thought about doing like a cover up, because this is like a fabric here. It's like a velveteen fabric. I thought about covering up that, taping it off, and then spray painting the whole frame after I clean it in like a black, like a matte black, and then roughing up the edges with a little bit of gold buff to kind of lend itself to that kind of Gothic feeling. And then this brown velveteen, I did kind of think about adding a little bit of color to that to make it a little more black than brown. But yeah, I think I paid, it was like $3 for this frame at Goodwill. And I actually picked this frame up before I picked up the pattern. And I was like, when I saw this pattern, I was like, oh, the frame I just got will work perfectly for this. So I need to check out the counts, see what size fabric I need to stitch it on in order to make it work for that frame. And I don't know if it will be on purple. It honestly depends on if I can change the color of the velveteen. If I can't change the color of the velveteen, then I might do a different color background, because the purple would not look great with the velveteen that is brown. So there's that. But I definitely intend to put this pattern in that frame. So that is the other thing that I can show you from the attic. So everything else is frames and stuff that I picked up. So when I was at Goodwill, I picked up several frames actually. So this one I intend to clean up, and I really liked the fact that it was round. Because there's so many little patterns that I've stitched that are like a round type finish that I think that this will be really cute. It's quite dirty. It needs to be cleaned. And if, while I'm cleaning it, if, I don't know if it's like paint or whatever it's on it that gives it that stripe, if while I'm cleaning it that comes off, then I might spray paint it so that it's all a solid color or something. I guess it would depend on what I end up putting in it. But I really liked the fact that it was a round frame, and it's got a kickstand and a hanger. So that's nice. It's in there backwards because, and I haven't opened this yet, but it's in there backwards because in order to hang it, the hanger needs to be at the top so that it doesn't fall out of the frame. So, just public service announcement. If you have a frame like this, the hanger needs to be at the top. Otherwise it will slide out of the frame on the wall, and that would be bad. So, yeah, so obviously $1.49 for that one. This little guy needs a little bit of a cleaning, but otherwise he's in really good shape as well. And he is, I don't know what size frame that this is, because he's not a 4x6. He's smaller than that. I'm not really sure what size frame this is, but I was fairly confident that I could probably find something in my finishes that would fit in this little guy once I clean him up, because he's a little dusty and a little scuffed, but that's fine. Like, I don't think that takes away from it at all, but he does need a nice little cleaning. And he was only 99 cents. So for $1, I'm sure I have something in my finishes that I can find to put in him. And then this one is a nice little like 4x4. And for $1.50, because I do so many smalls, but I don't always want to make them into little pillows or something. So sometimes I really do like just framing them. I don't like framing everything because that's just way too much. But I thought that that was a pretty good haul from Goodwill that I found. And that was all before I went to the attic. Like I was waiting for the attic to open. So there's a Goodwill that's like across the street from the attic. So I just stopped into Goodwill to see if they had any frames or anything that could be used for finishing. And it's always hit or miss. I don't find stuff very often, honestly, that would work. But I did find those 4 frames, and I was super excited about it. So I thought I would share. And then the other day I had to stop at the dollar store in order to get some clear containers to put some worms in for my science class. So it was a lab, but I picked up a few things because when you go to the dollar store, you can't just go for one thing. You have to wander. And I picked up a few things. So I picked up this frame because I always like to pick up some little frames. And this one, I actually like the colors of it. But it's also like a nice size frame that if I wanted to spray paint it a different color or add or buff on another color or something, I could. It is plastic, so I mean it's not like super high quality or anything, but I do like the color, and I like 4x4 frames. Anything that's square, honestly, because a lot of cross-stitch patterns are square or close to it, or like a round that would fit into like a 4x4. Anyway, I digress. So, and then the other things that I wanted to show you is some of the yarn that I picked up at the dollar store, because these are actually very good yarns. Premier is a very nice brand of yarn, and for $1.25, that is a lot of yarn. And it's the same kind of yarn that I use when I'm finishing the pillows. So it's the same yarn that I used for these guys. To finish them. So this is a thing of whites. It's called whites. And then this one is cocoa. And I thought that was a really nice brown color, kind of a camel kind of color. I don't know if I would call it cocoa, but cocoa to me is darker, but a very nice neutrally kind of color. And then this one is called mint. So I picked up one of each color that they had. They had the white, the brown, and the green. So I picked up one of each color. So next time I go to the dollar store, I'm going to specifically look and see if they have any other colors of these, because it does not take much to border those little bitty pillows. I have so much left. And then, yeah, I mean, that's cheaper than when I get yarn at like Hobby Lobby when it's on sale, because I wait till they are on their 30% off sale for the yarn. I'm not going to pay full price for something I know that next week is going to be on sale, because it like goes every other week. And the yarn that I usually get that is like the baby chenille, like this is like $3.99 a skein, and so 30% off of that is not $1.25. So this is perfectly fine. I don't need anything super fancy or expensive to finish pillows with. So I wanted to share that with you guys, that they have this. I'm looking around, making sure. I believe that is everything that I had to show you guys. So this ended up being a little bit longer video, more like what I'm used to. So now is the portion of the video that I share with you who I have been watching lately. So let me go into my history. Why do they insist on changing really? Why do they insist on changing how you find stuff all the time? All right, so off the top of my head, I can tell you that I've recently watched okay, found it. Finally found my history of views. Okay, so I have recently watched Thread Gremlins. They're a new channel, and I believe that they've only got a couple videos out, and I watched their number 2 video, and I think that's their last one. I'm not sure. And then I watched, let's see, I watched Lindy Stitch's the Nashville shopping list finale, behind the scenes one. So I watched that. I watched L&D's latest one, and I watched Stitching with the Sarahs. That's Sarah from Sarah Stitchery and what is her Flosstube? I can't think. Sarah W. That they put out. I watched it on Sarah Stitchery's site because I follow hers. I think I follow the other Sarahs too, but I don't watch her videos as regularly. And I watched Savory Sewing. I don't know if it's her most recent video, but it was episode number 20 is what I watched. And I really enjoy most of the stuff that she stitches on. So there's that. And Sirius is really starting to demand attention here. He needs a haircut again because his little face is not... I leave the hair on his face longer because I don't like it when it's too short because I think it looks funny. So I leave the hair on his face a little longer, which also means that it does not take long for it to grow out to the point where he can't see. Which I find funny because he runs into things. But I'm like, serious, the wall has not moved. But there's that. So I might decide to give him a little bit of a trim this weekend. I'm not sure if I'm going to have time, but he is demanding my attention right now. You want to say hi and bye? Here. Come here. There he is. Here he is with his paw down my shirt. There he is. He's trying to get a purchase. There. Sirius, say hi. Say hi. They're over there. Look. There's Sirius. He needs a haircut. He's got hair in his eyes. So, if you saw him on my last video from a month ago, you can see that his hair has grown super fast. and so I need to trim up his face at least. The rest of his hair isn't that long that he needs to have it trimmed yet, but I'm still getting the hang of trimming him myself. And he's not the most patient of puppies when it comes to getting his hair trimmed, by me at least. From what I understand, at the groomers, he's an angel, but the groomers are expensive, and I'm trying to not spend so much money. So I've been doing it myself, and it hasn't been too bad. I'm still really scared about trimming his nails. I really need to figure that out or take him somewhere. But because he doesn't like his paws played with. He's not a fan. So yeah, so there's that. I don't really have any life updates. I believe there are 6 Mondays left of school, so that means that there's about 6 weeks left of school. And then I'm not entirely sure what's happening after that. I know I will be doing student teaching when school starts up again to finish my certification and get that completed and done with, because it's really bugging me that it's been a drawn-out process that does not make sense to me. But anyway, so I've been just kind of going to work and going to work. I've done a couple stitching meetups since the last time I talked to you. Like I said, I went to the library a couple times. I had AZ Stitchers, and it's starting to get loud because they're starting to do yard stuff, so I'm trying to wrap this up. So yeah, that's pretty much all I've been really doing, just kind of work and stitching, and yeah, I don't know. The plan right now is to post another video in 2 weeks. I don't know if that's going to happen. It really depends on weather and all that stuff. But yeah, I think that's pretty much it. If you guys got this far, thank you so much. Leave me comments. If you leave comments, I always respond, whether I just like your comments or I give you a response. But I always read them. So definitely feel free to leave me a comment. Yeah. All right. Well, thank you so much for watching, guys. Have a great day.